So first we're going to start with a little bit of math. It's very simple math. So we've counted how many slots and holes that we have within our rigid heddle. And that's 27 total. That's counting slots and holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way across. We divide that by half. That gives us 13.5. So we're just going to go with number 13. In our pattern, we have 16 strands. We divide that by half. That's going to be the number 8. So if we look back over here on our box loom, I've marked those two positions on our box loom. So the 13th heddle in is this slot, and that's going to be the center of our loom. So I've counted back 8 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which means we're going to start warping our loom in the hole right here. So that's our starting position. That'll put us 8 on this side of the 13 and 8 on this side of the 13. That will center our yarn on this loom. Okay, now I have one other device. Let me back up for just a minute. What you've been seeing along here is this item here. This is a paddle loom. It's made exactly to the same specifications to the reed on this box loom. So you've got 27 also right here. We'll go over how to, you warp it the exact same way, but when you go to weave on it, it's a little bit different. So there'll be another video on how to do that. Sometimes it's just a little bit easier to show on this one how to warp, but because the box loom's a little bit hard to catch on camera. But we'll show you how to use the paddle loom on a different video. So I'm going to put that back over to the side. Now, I've got this other tool. You can buy these just about at any craft store. Basically what it is it holds your spool of yarn. Put that right on there. You take your yarn, put it through the hoop so that when you're pulling your yarn, it comes off nice and neat. It doesn't get tangled. Your spool doesn't go rolling around on the floor. It just makes it a lot easier. So I'm going to put this towards the back side of the loom, which we're calling the back right now, which is actually the front side of the loom. And our pattern calls for white string. So, and it says to put it in a hole. Well, number 8 is a hole, so we're going to start there, which is perfect. We're going to get our needle threader, pop that through the hole right there. Turn this so you can see the back side. Put the string through the needle threader, just like we talked about on part 1. Pull it through. And that's the beginnings of the first string. Now, to measure your string, if you have a modern inkle loom, you're limited on the yardage of your individual warp strings to the yardage that they've made the inkle loom to be. So smaller inkle looms, you get smaller yardage. The larger inkle looms, you get more yardage. So box looms are a little bit more unique. You're still doing an inkle band or a tape, because what you're doing is you're tying it on to this back piece and you're rolling it. So you can put as much yardage on here as you want. Now, how do you measure yardage, right? Well, you can use a warping board or a warping reel, but this is sort of kind of a little bit overkill for a box loom. For a big loom, a floor loom, and if you're weaving large pieces of material, I would go with that. But for this, I sort of kind of eyeball it. I'm going to move the camera And put this on pause so that you can see how I go about eyeballing my yardage. Now, I like to try and keep it for about 2 to 3 yards for each strand. And because any more than that, and you start getting a big clump of yarn here, and it starts getting cumbersome. So you can do more, it just gets a little bit more difficult to use. Okay, so we're back to warping the box loom. I've used my needle threader. I've got the first one through the very first hole, and I'm going to do my yardage. Now I'm going to do approximately 2 to 3 yards. So for me, approximately 2 to 3 yards is from here to my kitchen sink. So I'm just going to walk this string over to my kitchen sink to the edge. I'm going to drop it on the floor. I'm going to go back over here, cut a good length off to give me a tail. For my next string calls for purple. So I'm going to switch my purple string out for the white. The purple string goes into the slot. So I'm going to use my card. If you want to go to the back side. I'm going to use my card and put it in the slot, pull it out the other side. And I'm going to do the same thing with the next string. I'm going to walk over to my kitchen counter, take it to the countertop, and drop it. Then I'm going to cut off a nice good tail end on this side. Okay, and I'm just going to keep repeating that between holes and slots, following the pattern until I get all my strings done, and then we'll come back and I'll show you what I've got.